But losing players early is a massive issue. Even just one player, Hodrick, I mean, we know you were a pro, right? You know losing one player, that's really going to hurt your chances of a potential chicken dinner. And it's the same for Alpha Gaming. Also losing players very, very early on in the matches. That's something you need to avoid. And currently, actually, I want to say a team that's been pretty decent at doing that is Orangutan. They keep players very early on alive. And then they get into the late game. Unfortunately, still, as we said, they got a bit more passive. But Orangutan have been doing that really well. So I want to see a bit more of that kind of playstyle from these teams that unfortunately do take very early casualties.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to OG, I'm gonna be a little bit more harsh. That last game, they needed to make that push, right? I think they're doing an excellent job of getting to those late games, right? But at a certain point, Neptura, you have to flip on that aggression switch, right? Do you think the reason why they haven't done that yet is because of nerves or something else?
I think it might be nerves. It's definitely not skill, because what they're doing is they have their full squad, but they're playing like they're a solo or a duo. And they can't do that. They've got to unlock that next level and just go, hey, we're here, we're full squad, let's go for it.
Well, one of those 7 slots is right there for the taking, OG. Are you going to be able to grasp it? Only a few matches left to go. Let's go ahead and take it on over to John Allen Blake for the next Erangel match.
We are ready and raring to go for our second Erangel. The open fields proved that Gauntlet does sometimes have what it takes. The question is, who else is going to be able to step up this match? Because at the moment, it's not looking likely that Gauntlet are going to be able to go the full distance, even if they have a fantastic 5-match there.
No, but it looks good, right?
Yeah,
It looks nice.
Good for the nerves.
You're not going to be feeling terrible going into the group stages, at least. But talking about the cutoff right now, because we are heading into the halfway point. Like I said, after this game, I think things will start to solidify a little bit more. I think the guys on the desk are absolutely right that we are starting to get to that point where people are getting locked in terms of not falling out. At least we had that idea, it's like 105 to 110 points is the cutoff. Already some teams have achieved that, some teams are nigh on achieving that. There is only a few teams left now where it's interchangeable.
So going to get a little bit more clear. You're right, the mists will start to lift on these overall rankings as to who is going to be in with the chance of getting one of those spots. We've already got 2 or 3 teams who are looking pretty set to be able to get forwards. I'm talking about Kara, I'm talking about Thunder Talk, I'm talking about Mad Bulls as well after that game that they just saw. Jumping up over the 110-point boundary. More teams will start to move in. The east side circle comes on through on a west side plane path, so teams will need to migrate out to that east side.
It's a very far rotate as well for a lot of our squads, considering we are on that western plane path. So a lot of that eastern area should be a little bit more clear. But for teams that like to play those areas like Alpha 7, it's a difficult rotate to make. With Thunder Talk already in this position, Gauntlet taking up residence over towards Yasnaya, they'll have to do a little bit more cautious with it. Kara actually gets the most room to play with down towards Farm and Milter, so they can kind of have the pick of the litter of where they want to play on that one. Again, not always the most comfortable area of the map to play. I personally really don't enjoy playing Shelter at all. I think most players would agree with that. But again, most of these positions are difficult to work with. Again, I think it's going to be speed, alacrity required in these coming moments, just because if we do head over towards that northeast side, you're going to have Mansion, particularly a very, very strong position to play in. Also, you have Heaven that you can head over towards too. So those areas with this western plane path, you're going to be quick to get towards them. But you have a little bit of time now before we do hit stage 2.
Yeah, we are going to still be in with a couple of minutes before that boundary is crossed. Thunder Talk up in the north side all the way in Stalber. They have had a bit of a slowdown. We'll see if they can keep things up towards the finals, where we're very likely going to see them. OG, they had a good chance in that last game at the north side of their compound, right? It was unfortunate that Ulf broke that, and then Gike in turn stopped them from getting out. We heard from them a little bit before with 7 over on the stage.
Welcome to a quick report with the 7WG. I don't have any players with me, but I do have some information. Earlier in the day, I got to talk to Aro from OG, and I asked him, what is the expected benchmark that you have to hit every single match? He said between 6 to 7 points. So far, especially after the performance they just had, they're averaging 6 points. Let's see if they can keep it up and maybe get a little bit closer towards that top 7.
I mean, 6 or 7 points a match, that sounds like not a lot, right? But it is actually quite difficult to be able to get that. Very few teams in the lobby will be able to find that sort of a metric. To put that in context, 6 points a match gives you 108 points total on the set, blank, of 18 matches, which is, as you can see, pretty difficult to achieve. Not many teams have passed that boundary.
Yeah, and that's on the low end of the prediction as well, coming through from Aru. So yeah, it is difficult, but I think he's kind of on the money there with it as well. 67 points, and if that's the game plan right now for OG, they could still hit that, but not with those point scorings. They'd still need a bigger game. It's not a gigantic game they need, but they do need another large game for them today. They do get over towards the Povka very quickly, which is nice.
Yeah, this game is that chance, right? That big spread out, like you said, to that east side. They've got very, very central control. The question is the regroup. If they can make that work successfully, then they're going to be in a really good spot to try and convert. And even though they are down in 12th place, right, they still have got some firepower to them. And we'll see just what they're able to do on that position out to the south of the Yas fields.
Alpha 7 still playing on that northwest side right now, alongside with R8. Both teams, you know, neck and neck right now. A lot of times neck and neck in terms of the drop spots as well on the map. So finding some equal success on that side of things. It is kind of funny, like two teams that drop so close to one another multiple times with many similar rotations have ended up 2 points apart on the tables.
Yeah, it is really not ideal to be rotated directly next to your table competitor. It just adds to the nerves. I mean, logistically, it's the same as rotating next to another team, but it's got to feel a little bit more nerve-wracking when you know that one misstep on your part gives them points, takes your point potential away as well. And when you're neck and neck, that is not what you want to be seeing. DRX right now, they've kind of had their ups and downs over the course of the this gauntlet so far, but they are in 7th place right now.
I think that when we look back on what the desk had to say, I think it's very, very clear why they chose both of these teams in 6th and 7th places, saying they're the most interchangeable. It's purely because of the tendencies that they've brought to the table throughout the entirety of this tournament. And DRX, like you say, inconsistent. I would say Wolves is similar on that boat of inconsistent. Yes, they've put up big points here and there. A lot of those points did come through from Rondo just today. And I think that for both Wolves and DRX, it is not the similar case with R8 and Alpha 7, where both these teams are punching up those points every single game, right? There is a little bit here and there. They are consistently getting those numbers on the board. For DRX, it has felt like a bit of a struggle. For Wolves, it's felt like a bit of a struggle, right? Sometimes the pickaxe is just flinging off the rock and stone that they're trying to break through, whereas for R8 and Alpha 7, you know, there's steady hands. There's steady hands there.
It's time-tested. Nerves. You'd hope of steel. Steel actually cuts across Doran. Oh my goodness me. That's got to feel pretty nasty for the Wolves. In 6th place, 91 points. More secure of the two volatility teams, but not losing a player that early to APG is not going to feel good. And they'll have to learn to deal with it, unfortunately, because there's nothing really they can do about it.
No, and I mean, that's the second time in a row now we've seen here on Erangel. The Wolves lose one player super early in the match. Again, though, that's silenced and a 3xM4. At that distance, a bit of a bucking Bronco in terms of a weapon. The fact that he hits those shots so cleanly is again a testament to Zol's experience in the game over the multiple years and the multiple achievements he's been able to garner. Yeah, well played, very well played. But for Wolves, that's got to stop. I mean, it's the same rotate again. It's the same positioning over towards gas station. You can't have that keep happening, especially if they want to stay in top 7.
Next circle coming on through in a couple of seconds as well as our teams have moved central, but it just sends all the way back to the west side. We're looking to go to a not dissimilar part of the map, but around that east edge of Potato Hill. Unction is going to be a major feature moving forwards of this game, and Virtus Pro probably one of the slower teams to be able to make it in. They're further away than most. We'll see what they can do. DRX, they were pretty quick on the trigger here, and actually they're happy to play all the way down south on this building.
You kind of want to take both sides of this though, and I think DRX has enough time to do it in, so they are confirming on both positions, but the anchor point has been found. No players there, so DRX is like, well, sure, I guess we'll pick this up. They got OG over on their north side though, who are trying to clear a similar area. You see Aru wrapping around the side. QXZ very close to him, but the shots aren't ringing out just yet.
Not for the time being. OG, I mean, not going to be able to do more than just send them down into the bunkers. Not for the time being. Regnum Kaya.
Kaya gives them options going into the late game. And again, there's not a fantastical amount of insanely strong areas to play towards the center of this circle. So I think for Regnum Kaya, like, that is a good spot to be working with going forward. They just hope they don't have a GK situation from last game where they get rolled upon and just absolutely smoked. But in the meantime, I think most teams will be waiting for stage 3 to pop on this one. It does move away from shelter, so we are towards those winding roads. GK currently just playing it safe on that north side. Thunder Talk coming out from Yasnaya on that early end of things. I think that has been a bit of a problem for Thunder Talk over to both today's games and maybe even yesterday. Is a little bit of a slower approach on this north side. A lot of times they stop off in South Yaz for a long time, and I think they're realizing it's not working anymore, so they push out much earlier across the fields.
I mean, the thing that we praised Thunder Talk for at the end of day 1 and towards the start of day 2 as well is that coordinated play. Their basics, their fundamentals were just better than everyone else in the lobby at that point. When you talk about team play, it seems like a few other teams have caught up, and at the moment they are flagging. So corrections now necessary for Thunder Talk. So it's good to see that they are making those adjustments, not just resting on their laurels, and moving in to try and make sure that they fully deserve their spot in the finals, which they are almost guaranteed to find here. Alpha 7 all the way out on the east, still just about skirting prison. Rick and Kai are actually making a move further up here. They don't want to stay in that dip. They want to get a little bit further down.
Yeah, I mean, being on that low ground now isn't effective. It was good as a stop-off point, and if the circle moved over towards the northeast side, fantastic. But at this point in time, you're quite close to the circle anyway. You should have had some scouting available to you, so they're just going to rotate during that time to get into a better spot here. Annoyingly for a lot of teams, that lovely compound that sits to the western hillside of Farm is cut out. So teams can't really play off the back of that one. E-Arena, though, is going to take control of Potato Hill, and Regular Kai is going to sit just underneath it.
Silas looks for the spray towards Prestige. Doesn't connect, but we'll give the info away. DRX playing close by as well on the entrance that we saw them being able to get to before. Nade over the top. Continue to bobble on in. Damage just ticking away on both of these teams, but no blood being spilt just yet. As Regnum Kaya seem to be solidifying now in their hold.
You get to a point here where I feel like both teams, you don't really want to fight each other all that much. I mean, there's no reason to, because DRX doesn't want to give up that position. Regnum Kaya doesn't want to give up theirs either. And both are relatively safe. Obviously, Regnum Kaya is slightly more painful to play because it's a bit more open and DRX is going to have to expend smokes. But this is definitely a case of a bit of a more neighborly love from both squads.
Certainly might be favorable. The question is, will they be able to bear that pressure? Loxy flexing out wide in the middle of the circle for Regnum Kaya. As Alpha 7, they drew short onto one of the entrances to shelter. OG were surrounding it before. They divert, they want to get into the circle, and they will line that edge trying to stop Alpha 7 from going through, but they will thrust the tip of the spear. Revo moves on in now. WizGod and Atanki have to hold strong. They're playing around the hill, around the mouth here. The nades are good. WizGod, if they spotted him, Carrillo knows about it now. We'll be able to hear it, but WizGod's quick on the trigger with a pump action. A nade put in through the window, though, is going to make it all harder. But Aru has to step in, and 3 players from Alpha 7 crumble in the face of the hold here from OG. Another player now sends out wide Obscure, the last for Alpha 7, and he's on the hunt. AKOP over the top has got the shotty as well as the blue zone to push Obscure out of the zone. It's only stage 3, not the hugest. AKOP, though, takes damage from the zone, and GS are on the north, maybe a third party.
Yeah, I mean, GS coming over towards this one, they can definitely see that there's a fight taking place right now. And with OG taking another knock on the cards, GS should be able to finish this up. Already they're sending a player out to try and survive longer inside the zone, but quickly cut off in the meantime. So they are locked in now versus GS. But it's only 2 players right now from GS that are playing this position, hoping to just hold these players out. I don't know why Amir pulled off that spot. He just saw a player.
You're trying to send on through and actually might be able to make it now, but it will send over towards Kara and Virtus Pro as well. I don't think he's going to be able to make that one work. He sends up 2 players from Virtus Pro hop out, and down Alpha 7 fall. 5th place, 103. I mean, they're not fully secure yet, but they've still got a couple more games to play here. But 16th place, 0 elims, a fight with OG that they lose there is not going to be a sweet taste on the tongue.
No, I mean, that's the team that hasn't quite made it yet. I mean, 103 is great, but is it super secure? No. Thunder Talk up against Geeke, a fairly consistent squad wipe, but not before E-Arena starts to swing down the hill, looking over towards Thunder Talk. The Gladiators do arrive. Tony K back in the hovercraft, looking to move away as Thunder Talk gets swept up. Only 2 players left now for the team. E-Arena able to profit a little bit off the back of that one with 2 points.
I think the major profit that they'll find is actually the lack of teams in their area anymore. They can move along Potato Hill, move a little bit closer towards Regnum Kaya, and really take control of this western side of the circle. The rotation after may be a little bit trickier. With R8 to the north, with Wolves to the south, Regnum Kaya to the front, it's not too many options from that point onwards.
GS taking down OG as they attempt to make their way through. Alpha 7 really slowed them down there. And for OG, it looks like they are just ticking away. They still have 1 final player up, but it's between him, Kara, Virtus Pro, as well as GS. It's very unlikely that he makes his way out of the blue here.
So, not looking great. This could have been their game. For OG, they had the drop, they had the circle on their side, but that shift back to the west has been treacherous for them. They were able to handle Alpha 7, but GS really playing spoiler to the approach on the northern edge. And GS will make out over towards DX. And now in the crash goes. Jafar sending straight into the middle. Immediately Paragin puts him down. No threat now, so it's a single front fight. The nade finds Amir as well. And that is a brilliant start to the hold as Levi's turns the corner. And GS are sent spinning here as they try and approach the Xavier's hold. The Xavier, we criticize them for not being able to hold super strong, but maybe that's going to change. Hang on a minute. Ooh, I might have to eat my words because there's already a lot of danger being felt. 1 player gets knocked and flushed there. The Xavier losing 1, but they do stay alive.
I mean, you hold versus the push. That means a lot less players on this northeast side for you. Mad Bulls just finished an engagement and now look to push down as well. I think they must have heard this, so they are instantly trying to get players back up and healthy so they could try and capitalize off the back of an engagement that just took place. There is a player that only just got picked back up again. That's Atanki going down to the play zone off in the distance. Nade's been sent down from Ulf as well as APG towards VP's position. It was a spot that can be played, but it's also a spot that both teams from APG as well as Ulf understood that likely teams are going to go for.
Oh dear, that nade, the double knock there coming through from the Mad Bulls, leaving just the 1 player now for DX Xavier on the ground floor. Third party, maybe. Shots sent in across the way. Is that R8? Is that Ulf? I'm not entirely sure, but they've already done so much work. It's just Lamborn now for DX Xavier on the inside. R8 are close by. Amori has moved into position on that north flank. Look at how much he wants to get stuck into this fight. Maybe take a player down, maybe give themselves an opening, because R8 do still have to move.
I mean, RA could have an equally similar rotate to Mad Bulls here. I think the difficulty for them is Mad Balls really hasn't taken too much damage off the back of this. Get the res up over towards Paragin, and Mad Balls just lets it happen. Still 3 nades to work with. 2 nade goes over towards the top window. Paragin's able to dodge that one, so he's able to get that first aid kit off, which is pretty massive for them, getting 2 players back into the fight. But Lemon once again so good with the nades.
Flambour has got 2 more still to play with. Nade out through the door, looks for the challenge. He's got to hold his nerve though, not go for the peek. It's Scarface though, who spots him hopping out the window. Does not allow the exit, and that is DXAV with 3 right towards that bubble. That's great news for the teams looking to try and chase up towards it. Feel like Regnum Kaya may be on for a bit of a mad one here if they can capitalize on the west side position. Pusher with Amori though, knocking on the door, and Mad Balls now have another challenge.
Yeah, for R8, this is a much more difficult fight in terms of the health pools available to Mad Balls, but already done a hell of a lot of damage. But they need to keep these nades coming so those first aid kits can't keep being applied to the players and getting them back up and healthy. This is good chip damage so far from R8. Just wondering when they're going to pull the trigger on this one. There's no more third parties in this area. It has been a constant fight for this location.
Yeah, Kara approaching to the rest of Ulf drew Scarface away, so they are now fighting on that south side, which means you're right, this is going to be a fairly clean fight. Unless that fight on the south side concludes, you can see off in the distance, then things could get a little bit more messy, but have to wait for the time being. Marth still on that off angle on the outside. Lemon knows exactly what he's playing up against. He's not really able to do too much about it right now.
Flip, taking shots from Scarface again. God, this guy is frustrating to play against. Insanely good when it comes to those long-range shots, and even more shots going down over towards RA. He's just making sure both these teams are battered and bruised by the time they leave this building. Right now, R8 definitely has the advantage because they're playing with a 3-story at their backside as well. So if it came down to it where Mad Balls are able to get a single knock over towards them, they can always start dodging nades in the 3-story. Loxy, though, finding some shots over towards Sakura. And Murray on the sidelines finds a great shot towards Mad Balls there, opening up the doorways for the rest of R8 to start flowing through. This isn't before Scarface once again tells Marth that you can't be stepping out on the outside.
There's a big fight happening on the west side as well, Blank, in the picture-in-picture. It's Regnum Kaya fending off the push from the arena. It looked like Regnum Kaya might have had a good time of it, but tried to lose a player or 2. Pusher on the inside here now, though, as we go into the kitchen. Looking to try and cook up a meal, but it's not going to happen. It's cold as a bone, and R8 will be taking them on down. Marth is the loss that they have to suffer, but that Scarface is doing. In the meantime, Regnum Kaya able to survive just a little bit longer, but they need a res. They need something else to happen as the Wolves are starting to push on up and fight against DRX on their south border.
Again, this is good for the Wolves. They needed another strong game here. They couldn't keep just getting those small ones and then hope for a big game to come in the future. Getting those placement points will be very nice. They start to push over towards DRX. The lovely shot from QXZ will pin them down for the time being. An APG off in the distance as well is an ever-looming threat for the Wolves.
Regnum Kaya have managed to get themselves back up now. They could peek in here. The off angle, the outpost for DRX is their end goal for Kites. They're out in the open, but they've got to deal with Coops first. They'll do it. They'll look for more as well. They will find everything they're looking for. The Wolves start to fall, and they will continue to tumble. 7th place. No elims there. Not able to keep things going. For DRX, this is great news. On that 7th place bubble, they're looking to solidify themselves. But Regnum Kaya, they want to extract points from this region. 5 elims found, and they want more as they move on in from that western edge.
Oh my god, the tracking on that was crazy. Royal Mail first class. That is some amazing shots there. The quick resets time and time again. I think Regnum Kaya didn't realize what was hitting him. I'll be calling hacks at that point, to be honest with you. But Regnum Kaya will get to play on as 2.
Kara eliminated as well in the meantime on the southeast side. That was Ulf's doing. Ulf as well on that big chase for the bubble. The fact that the Wolves are down, the Alpha 7 are down, gives them a little bit of hope, but there's a knock coming through both for DRX and for Ulf. Regnum Kaya have managed to move in, but they're playing 2 solos right now with Loxy and Zedwolf still alive on that northwest side. DRX really now penned in. Kaise can't do a thing about it.
I think for DRX, they are going to struggle to get out from this position. The saving grace is that Zol basically has no ammo because he's been shooting everyone in the lobby right now. We'll push a little further up here to get some information off the back of it. Doc will pick a player out the back of the buggy, immediately steps back down again. Again, this is where I want to see Doc respect this angle a little bit more. Needs to potentially leave. This could be a decent Molotov. There's no smoke blocking the window either, so he has a clear sight line towards it.
DRX on slivers of HP. And Hyunbin goes down to Reefus. APG. It's been engaged the lobby now. 2 players for DRX, and it's only the one on this outpost. Remember, they've still got that central player. Death Wolf did get knocked and flushed there, leaving just Loxy for Regnum Kaya on that north side. There's that knock over towards DRX. They're not getting him back up. The question is points. 5 teams remain now, Blank. What can teams extract from here? Loxy in the picture-in-picture, fighting for his life against Amori. One of the 2 players remaining for R8.
Again, for APG there, Doc gets shot at by Eren on that angle. Where was the comms across the top in which how he should have rotated back towards the team? Doc knew that angle was available. I just don't think Top was told about it, because otherwise there's no way he would have made that aggressive push back that way. I'm not sure. I couldn't give you the specifics, but it's just frustrating to watch that. I mean, we just talked about it. But now APG down to just 3 players. But first one in a while, we've seen them in a top 4 here. Could go a little bit further beyond, but it is Ulf who's controlling the hillside along with the shack. Ulf looking to jump up the tables.
They've got 12 elims already, Blank, this match. They're trying to convert off a really strong Rondo as well. Get themselves up into that top 7. I think they'll be able to do it off this match. The question is how far and how secure will they feel? Moving in to the later parts of today, we're going to be getting across the halfway line of the day after this match. So going into the final 3, it's got to feel good being in the top 7. But that buffer, building more and more on top of it. That's what teams are looking to do now. DRX, their last player. Prestige bearing down upon him. Mori keeping his head down. I feel bad for DRX.
I mean, for R8 as well, even if they get 3rd place here, it's not a huge amount of eliminations, but that should see them safe. Eren finding Reefus, 13 elims on the game. Another massive match for them. Up to top 3 for R8. It certainly sees them making it through here in the top 7, I would say, at this point in time. And now Ulf looks to readdress the circle. If R8 still slinging on both sides here, and Murray and Prestige playing both corners.
They regroup though. An immediate send back in. No, hang on a minute. They're diverting once more. They can't make up their minds. I mean, they're just getting that scouting info. They know nobody's pushing north just yet. APG and Ulf holding each other in a stalemate on this big flat plateau that sits in the middle. The nade is good from Amori, and that catches Yol. Alpha Gaming getting rid of that roadblock for Ulf might actually allow them to push across more effectively. R8 may have just unwittingly spelled their own demise.
But you take a 2nd place though. Let's see how far they can go off the back of it. But again, they control the entirety of the northern edge. Eren picks up another for his troubles and now sees Doc as well. That's 15 elims. They can just clear out the last 2 players from R8. It will be a 27-point game, which will shoot them soaring towards the top of the tables here, John.
They'll be over that 100-point mark if they're able to do it, Blank, I think. Very, very close. It might just be short, but that is an incredible resurgence for Ulf in the 2 big games that they've had today. And it just goes to show you how close these tables have always been. In every
I think the best thing about it is just watching Ulf play their game, right? Eren with these great angles that he's got towards players and taking one-on-one fights with some of the best players in the squad, and Scarface on those incredibly long angles, causing casualties towards teams that might have assaulted them later in the game. It's just nice to see Ulf finding their rhythm.
Absolutely. And a 2nd Turkish team being in the top 7 would be quite an impressive feat. Bit disappointing to not see Regnum Kaya up there with them. With a lackluster performance so far. They weren't able to convert on this game, but there's an answer. Amori doesn't want them to go any further. Draws a line in the sand, but he has to pull it back as the warpath is being driven right now. Eren in the passenger seat.
What is this?
Slinging them around the hilltops, but he's going to be pulled out the side. Ketch still sending off across the way, and now they've left themselves in a 1v2 blank. Ketch has it all to do. He's got 2 nades. He's going to have to try and make them work. Not quite reaching the tree there. Amori low on the HP and prestige, and Amori with a big chance for RA.
A massive ego challenge in the vehicle. Made little to no sense at the time after Scarface went down. They could have played this out a little bit slower. No utility on the side of R8 right now, other than one stun grenade. But for one player, that might just be enough. R8 continues to take momentum here, picking up strong positions. Molotov towards the tree, not allowing a Murray to get too close just yet, but just behind it, he's clear and free. Stun grenade goes out towards Kedge. Blast right in his face, and that's going to delay him. He just has to go blind on this one.
He's got one nade, but he's not going to have any time to play around with it. And that is R8 taking home the chicken dinner against all the odds there. What a find coming through from R8. Ulf looked like they had that in the bag. They were on a tear. They had the numbers, but they hop into that convertible and they got too big for their boots, Blank.
I don't know what that was. I mean, there's some giant's feet on those boots because they weren't fitting. That's all. I don't know what Ulf was thinking in that scenario. I mean, that does get them a lot of points, but it's not the 27-point game they were going for. They lost out on 2 elims as well off the back of that. So it's even worse for wear. For R8, though, a game that would see them sort of safe now sees them very safe.
They are going to feel pretty good about that one. A 6-point swing on the reverse side. What we were expecting, that 27 down now towards that 21 point, which is not a small game by any stretch of the imagination. Still, it's got to feel a little bit galling coming through from Ulf. They were not able to find it. In the end, it was R8 to sneak it away right from under their noses.
Ulf have the craziest game right at the right time, but then they go for the most bold drive play towards the end. And if they would have had an S12K, it would have worked, okay? But they didn't have it, and they were taken out by R8. R8 get the chicken dinner at this one, Max. And with this chicken, I mean, that's got to lock in their position, right?
Yeah, I mean, you said there were 4 positions possibly remaining in top 7, Hot Jukes. I think it's now just 3 remaining. It's dwindling every single match, but really good stuff coming out from R8. And that was all off the back, by the way, of that successful Northern fight against Mad Balls. They're able to clear off that position, and then all the other teams are fighting for the high ground positions. And R8 are just left alone to survive, make it easily into the later stages, even though they do lose some players a little bit early on in this match, such as Ida and Marth. Prestige, Amori, that was more than enough, Niptra, to wrap up this paramount game that they desperately needed to be in the finals. And with this game, I'm going to say it, they're 100% in for the biggest stage of this year's Pmgc.
I 100% agree. They are in, they are ready to go, and you could see them celebrating that fact as well right after the game, because they know as well they have gotten in, they are safe, they are good to go, because this is exactly what they needed, right? Because so far today, they've been looking a little bit, uncertain. So this win just really cementing that, and, just being a breath of fresh air and just like, okay, we can relax now is really, really good for them. But I've got to say, Max, Ulf coming in hot, just missing out on the win. But man, the points they're racking up today is insane.
You know what? If we don't see Ulf get a win where they get these high elimination counts compared to what we saw day 1, day 2, I'm fine with this. I'm
right?
Like, it's going to be enough, Hot Jukes, to push them up in top 7. So you know what? Would it be nice to see them actually get the win? Yes, but this is currently more than enough to keep them in the conversation and make it work out. So you know what, Ulf? Keep it going. This is the right change of pace that we needed to see. And you know what? They're striking while the iron is hot on day 3.
Needed. That is the right word. By the way, those headshots from goal were just absolutely insane. We're definitely going to touch on that OG Alpha 7 push. I think that was really interesting, but I want to just really harp on Ulf, man. Ulf in this day, right? On the final day, they were at 13th place, right? At the start of the day here. With this performance, Max, I think that just might have put them especially in contention for one of those 7 spots.
I'm going to go even further. When you look at day 1 and day 2 combined, their highest elimination game was 6, right? That was their best performance. Today, they already got a 14 elimination game on Rondo and now a 15 elimination game on this last Erangel match. Combined, they're completely out, eclipsing even, I would say, their day 1, day 2 performances in day 3 alone and Niptura right now, is this more in line with what you expected from Ulf? Because for me, that is definitely the case.
Oh, 110%, right? We've known these guys for years. We know what they can do. 110, yes, I'm certain I'm going over 100% on this. Because, yes, we knew that their gameplay was a little bit more passive this time around than a few years ago, but I didn't expect to see the first and second day performances come out of them. This is much more like it. I'm so happy that they've adjusted.
Oh my goodness, look at the pop off there from RA. Yeah, because they have locked it in. We're gonna see them in the finals, but let's take a look at these rotations, Max, man. And look at that, Alpha Gaming all the way down there in military base, making that travel on over to the east.
Yeah, this is the 8-man Turkish rotation from Ulf and Regnum. Like, you know what, we're homies from the same region. Let's move in similar rotation path and see how it's going to work out. Of course, they're going to be pretty accustomed to it as they played against each other going into PMSL Europe earlier this year. From the southern side, right, Niptura going in. And finally, we were talking about it this entire game. It's not just a good rotation. They avoid early skirmishes to keep 4 players alive until the very later stage, to actually have an opportunity to go for the win. Sure, they don't quite secure it, but this makes me at least more hopeful that APG can initiate that comeback, because again, no early casualties happened here on this Erangel game.
Yep. Yeah, it was so nice. I mean, we saw some nades being thrown over to VP earlier on in the game, but still no full send, just trying to, you know, pick up an elimination here or there maybe, but really it's all about control. And it was really, really nice to see this different side to APG, the one that we're used to seeing, and it gets them 11 points. Is it enough? No. But is it a start? Yes.
Oh, man. Honestly, that start needed to happen a few games ago. They are really far behind, you know? So, but it's good to see them make it towards the end game. And not to mention, you know, Zol had those crazy headshots. First onto Doran, right? By the way, you know, Wolves, back-to-back donuts. What? I mean, actually, they got 1 placement point. Okay, right? So it's not a back-to-back 0-point games. We'll take that. But I mean, come on, Max, right? They win Rondo and then 0-point game, 1-point game. And now we're seeing teams pop off. I mean, these leaderboards are getting real scary.
I couldn't even tell you what went wrong this game because I didn't even see them do anything this match. For me, they just disappeared in like a puff of smoke. Unfortunately, the very early end for the side of Wolves. By the way, congrats to Mori that, again, just keeps standing out as the MVP contender of the entirety of R8. That I said it also on day 1. Normally, we see him more as a setup off angle player, but no, he keeps on performing. Very happy with Amori in particular here, Niptura. He just keeps putting up the numbers and helping them secure, again, their position in the top 7 as they now climb in 3rd position just behind Thunder Talk. R8, again, locked in. We're going to have a MENA team here for the grand finals.
Yeah, there is no way they drop down now. With just 3 games left, they are set. Mapples as well, picking up the pace here in the last day to just keep ahead of the rest of the lobby. So some really, really nice stuff going in here, Jukes.
I mean, this is absolutely crazy. You can just see those leaderboards. Ulf making it into that top 7 position all the way from 13th place. But man, we got a whole bunch more action to go here in just a minute, guys. We'll be right back after this short break.
Racing experience. Wow, racing maps await you. The new racing template is online. Create your racetrack gameplay. Navigate the forest racetrack. Unleash your racing passion. Surpass your opponents. Become the king of speed. Unlimited speed. Ignite your passion for speed. Play WoW now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Ketch, one of the veteran players currently at Pmgc. This man's been playing for 6 years. He's part of Ulf Esports. After the first 2 days, you guys had 31 eliminations. Today's a completely different day. After just 3 games, you guys have 30 eliminations. Especially yesterday in Erangel, you guys were able to get good placement points. But now it's a completely different team. What tactical changes have you guys made to be able to put up such a great performance, especially with Ilms?
Dün Erengel'de sıralamalarda puan kazandınız, pek elim puanı kazanmadınız. Bugün Erengel'e ne taktik olarak ya da mental olarak bir değişim yaptınız ki puanları topladınız?
Aslında yaptığımız değişiklik yok. Sadece oyun sonuna 4 kalmayı hedefliyoruz girdiğimiz pozisyonlarda. Bunu eğer başarılı bir şekilde yaparsak geniş oyunda bir şekilde yani bir ekstra bir şeyler çıkartabiliyoruz. Taktik yok yani, sadece özellikle vurmayı deniyoruz.
So technically we don't have any tactics. We just aiming to at least try to reach the top 4 of each match. And I think this overall it will balance our gameplay through the matches.
I'm happy to hear that. I mean, right now you're in 6th place, so I'm pretty sure you're going to be feeling confident. Now we're going to talk about Aaron, because Aaron just joined the squad in October. He was able to put up a good amount of eliminations just this last match. What has he been able to provide to the team since he joined?
Valla Eren daha Ekim'de girdi takıma. Şimdi nasıl yeni şeyler getirdi takıma?
Eren geldiği dönemde çok fazla alışma sürecimiz olmamıştı ama bizim antrenmanlarımız daha çok resmi turnuvalarda oldu. İyi geldi, güzel geldi. İnşallah da böyle devam ederiz.
So when Eren came, actually we didn't take that much for us to get used to him, but mostly we trained through the tournaments with him because it's the last minute he's joined. But it was a good feeling that he has in the team, and I hope he can perform very well after this.
Okay, I'm hoping so too. And out of all the squads that are here, the 15 squads that you're looking at, is there anyone in particular that you maybe feel like a rivalry building up after almost 3 days of gameplay?
Abi 3 gündür turnuvada oynuyorsun. Sizin takımınızla kapışacak bir takım var mı?
Yani burada bence herkes çok güçlü. Özellikle söyleyebileceğim bir takım yok. Bilmiyorum yani. Herkes çok güçlü.
So technically I have no teams to pick because every teams are already redeemed their places to get this place. So I really have no team to pick.
Look at this man giving that political answer. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ketch. I can't wait to see what's going to be happening in the last 3 games, as we're going to be, at the end of the day, sending the top 7 teams to the grand finals.
Hey, cool, calm, and collected there from Ketch right there. I mean, this guy is feeling good, especially after that match. But there's a lot of teams here, Max, man, that aren't feeling too good, right? I want to definitely point out some of the big names that are right there on that cusp for that 7th position, right? You had Alpha 7, right, who were already sitting, you know, pretty, but the only way that they don't make it into the finals is if they absolutely throw a terrible performance for the rest of the match. They get a 0-point game in that last one, Max. What do you feel about that?
I was going to say exactly that, actually. We should not see 0-point games, and guess what? That's what we just got. It does not bode well, Hot Jukes, for the rest of today, looking at Alpha 7. Of course, they just need an average rest of the day, and they should be able to qualify. But of course, like, starting off with a 0-point game, they're going to start feeling that pressure, Niptra, and you know what? Under pressure is when you can make some of your biggest blunders, and Alpha 7 have done in the past, especially during Pmwc. It would be very unfortunate to witness that happen once again in the Global Championship.
It really would. A7, they've done it before. Hopefully they won't do it again. They have time. Miramar's coming up as well later, so, you know, they could do really well there. They've already got an almost win today. They just need to keep going.
Let's take a look here at this last match. I mean, you got Xavier as well, only busting out 3 points. You know, OG get a 3-point game. And I'm going to say this, okay? I'm going to be real harsh here, okay? Ooh. Because I heard in the earlier match, right? We got a little bit of information from the 7WG, right? We heard from OG, and Aru saying that OG is just looking to get 6 to 7 points a match. When I heard that, I almost went nuts, because I was like, that is the worst thing you could possibly hear for the grand finals, in my opinion, right? Now, that strategy might work in some earlier tournaments, right? This is the grand finals, though. And Ulf just showed just how that is not gonna work, Max, at least in my opinion, because there are so many teams that can pull out huge games. So I think OG, you got to go for a chicken dinner here if you want to make it a top 7. 6 or 7 is just not going to cut it.
I think when you go in with a mindset of we want to hit 6 or maybe 7 points average per game, it's not the right approach. I think you should try and go hard for those wins, as you just said, Hot Jukes, and that can offset your potential bad games. Because guess what? Even the best in the world is going to have bad games, okay? Everyone is going to have, unfortunately, a 0 or 1 or 2-point game. If you get a win, though, you can afford to have those bad games, which, as of right now, Orangutan can't really afford to get. So I definitely agree with your point there, Hot Jukes. I think they need to try and go hard. And we saw a glimpse of absolute beauty in this game with Orangutan, Niptra. They had a great engagement in Shelter versus Alpha 7, I think it was. And then they just start to get a little bit too confident and start splitting apart. AKOP in particular was the one to leave the team. No, what we saw at the start of that fight, do it more often. And I'm telling you, they could easily make in top 7 if they could do it more consistently.
Oh, 100%, because what we saw in that fight was the team synergy, the backup from the team. You know, they were having a fight, somebody else comes round to back up the team, round on the outside, lots of different angles, and then AKOP just decides, hey, I'm just gonna go solo it towards the last player over on Obscure. I'm just gonna solo it, guys. You don't need to watch me. And I was like, bro, come on, no, please don't do this. Please. And then he goes out. I'm like, well, yeah, you kind of knew that was gonna happen, but yeah, it was unfortunate because then they just get overrun by GS as well as the blue zone comes in. It's just, why did you do that? So less of that, more of the initial start to the fight would be awesome for them.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm gonna sound very biased here, but I want COG in the finals because come on, India is finally back since what was it, 2021? Because they did in January the finals. I confuse in my mind, but it's been a while. And I would like to see them, and in my opinion, Orangutan, if there's any team that's going to make it, it would have to be the one, especially through Gauntlet. There's the easiest stage, you know, in quotation marks, to qualify into the finals because you just have to be in top 7. Yep. So we need to see a change of pace here, Hot Jukes, if we want to see that dream come to reality for the big old monkeys. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, man. It's a dream I definitely want to see happen. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you got Xavier right above them. You got Regnum Karya, VP right below you, okay? And right now, OG sitting in 10th place with 80 points. That cutoff position, that 7th place, DRX is currently holding it with 93. So they're already 13 points behind here with not a lot of matches left today. So when it comes to OG, if you're going to make that dream happen, honestly, it's going to happen with eliminations. 6 or 7 points a game ain't going to cut it, Neptura. What do you think we need to see from OG in this next match here, right? In order for you to feel comfortable for them going into the grand finals?
I need to see them just be more proactive. They're being reactive, not proactive. And they have really good mid game. They've figured out how they want to play the mid game. Certainly in the last 2 Erangels, we've seen some really good mid game strategies from them. It's just getting them to the end game and then fighting that end game is where they're falling down. And so they just need to be more proactive. They need to think ahead a little bit more, because the way the rest of these teams are playing, they were like 2 points, 3 points away from top 7 now. But as you just said, they're now 13 points away. So the rest of the lobby is not going to wait for them.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be that team in 8th place, guys, right? But, you know, 7th place gets you to the grand finals. By the way, right, we also got a pretty huge prize pool here for the Gauntlet, right? 7th place is going to net you a good old-fashioned $53,000 and that ticket to the grand finals. And 8th place nets you 6, right? So good little pretty much almost $50,000 difference there, you know? So, that is the worst position to be in, and I'm telling you, you do not want this to be close towards the end. And also, Wolves here, Maxman. Time to wake up, right? It's time to wake up here now.
Of course you would say that, Hodge. Of course you would be the one, please. Hodge, no, please. Wolves make it to the finals.
Don't tease me with that, Rondo, right? Don't tease me with it, right? I mean, I was so excited that 0-point game, 1-point game right after, right? I mean, honestly, I'm going to be happy with 7 points from them on this one, right? Put something up.
I mean, they're on the cusp right now. I mean, looking at the leaderboards currently on my screen, I'm seeing Wolves. They have 92 points. Above them, DRX 93. Right above that is 98 points from Ulf. They're currently on a bit of a momentum kind of build up towards the second half of today. If they can keep it going, it's going to be hard to deny that position away from them in top 7. So yeah, I think it's Wolves now. It's down to them. DRX, maybe also Alpha 7, maybe Ulf if they start slowing down for the second half of today. It's tough, man. The competition just above them, Niptra, is going to be crazy. We know with this roster, Wolves have that potential, but can they deal with this kind of pressure? They weather the storm going into these next 3 matches? I don't know, because Miramar, they can be a little bit topsy-turvy, but that's going to be the 2 battlegrounds that they need to perform on if they want to make it in the finals.
It's going to be so difficult to tell, really. I mean, they've been playing okay, but then they just get taken out on rotation. Doran needs to stop going out so early. I think maybe what they need to be doing, maybe the mistake they've been playing so far is like playing a little bit too split, because often we see the players go out 1 by 1 on those rotations and stuff. So I am kind of wondering if it's like a little bit of they're just playing a little bit too split. You know, typically they want to split in the end game. That's perfectly fine. Go for it. That's a great play. But maybe they're starting that just a little too early. Maybe less control in the mid game and then just go for it in the end game.
You know what? Another team I want to try and see a little bit more from Hot Chicks before we send it to this game is Virtus Pro. Generally,
oh my gosh.
Here, this game, that's such a good entry point, and they send it to Ulf and they get completely humiliated, to be brutally honest on that one. It was not even a fight. It was so one-sided in favor of Ulf that Virtus Pro, for me, just does not look like the team we witnessed in day 1, game 1 on that Rondo match. Virtus Pro has been falling from grace. It is time to do a comeback, Virtus Pro, because otherwise the finals are just going to be slipping right through their fingers. They need to do something this next game. Erangel, it is your time to perform.
Hey, only 3 matches left to go. This is the last Aaron Gale of the day. Regnum Kari and Virtus Pro are 19 points behind. Chicken dinner right here, right now. Let's see it.
Hey, they're looking for a chicken dinner. Now's the time to do it. You're right. If you want to jump up to the top 7, make sure that you've got that direct ticket to the grand final stage. Then it is all about getting these points in here and now, because the number of slots available is ever dwindling.
Not many left remaining now for teams to pick up and grab as we head further and further towards the end of the Gauntlet. We're starting on a Eastern playing path with this one, getting players that drop down towards Sosnovka out nice and early. So it's GK as well as APG being able to take advantage of this one. It seems that might drop over towards Primos. Very Pier could get a decent start off the back of it. We'll wait for the circle to pop, but it will be our final angle of the day. And it is going to be GS dropping on top of APG. APG with a good start, though, with the knife. Straight over towards GS.
Between the shoulder blades on that one. Looking to reload the VSS there. It's the only weapon you got. It's what you got to use. Jafar with the pan as well. But turn to the corner. The weaponry superior for APG. It's all up to Jafar to see what he could do. And he is quite far away from the rest of the team. He's got the M4, sure, but he's also got 4 players from APG to deal with. The question is, can he connect? Or does he just get out of there? See on the cams. They are leaving it up to him. A little bit of a worry that that's how the game starts. Of course, you can't get yourself back up now. And they want to hunt Jafar down. I think they know vaguely the direction he's playing, but I don't think they have the full bead on him. The question is how many, or if any, can he pick up if he can get those shots on the side angle? He's not there. Don't worry, guys.
Not the player you want to be leaving left alive here is Jafar. Clutch Maestro himself, but no shotgun in hand, so he's just going to dip off the back of this one. But for APG, what a start for them. This fight has been going back and forth for quite a while. For an opener like that, it is incredible to see. Oh, DBS. Yeah, just DBS and an F4. It's an insane loadout. Never mind. I lied.
No vest, though.
Well, actually, he's got a helmet, which is perfect, right? Because APG only hits heads. So technically, this is the optimal loadout.
Oh, for sure. That's 100% correct. 3 points for APG, though. If they wanted to make a resurgence, that's a great way to start. They've managed to farm 3 points already. They would love that. They would love to have that 4th and remove that thorn from the side and not worry anymore, because you've got to think he's in the hills somewhere. He's always hiding around the next corner. It does slow you down quite a lot. And with the circle being on the mainland out to the west side, we did see that pop during that fight. You're going to have to get on the road fairly quickly. You've got to be worried that it's not going to go your way if you can't move fast enough.
Yeah, and even so, for APG, let's put it into context right now, they need a 15-point average at least if they want to get into top 7. And that's a conservative estimate. So that's 15 points this match, next match, and the match after that. So again, just to set some expectations here. For OG and DX, a lot more doable in terms of points required to be gained over the next few matches. The Western shift on the circle, though, OG has a similar rotational path to what they had before. His team performance coming through from Ulf, 13th place in day 2, coming into 6th here in day 3 with an unbelievable performance over just game 1 and game 3. A lot of points accrued here, and again, like I said before, getting more into the rhythm of it, which is nice to see.
Certainly is. And if you had to pick 2 Turkish teams, as I was talking about in that last match, to go through in the top 7, it's very few people, I think, around the world that would have not put Regnum Kaya as one of those 2 teams, right? They're down in 11th place. You were talking about DX Xavier and OG having maybe an outside chance here. For Regnum Kaya, it's, again, just not quite close enough. And for a championship team, for a team that has been at the top of the world before, it is a bit of a misstep. And you were talking before about the potential lack of synergy with Zedwolf.
Yeah, well, I think that they don't play terribly. It's less of a lack of synergy and, like I said, more of a lack of delegation, because I do think that Zedwolf is sort of wasted right now on the team, where they're having him play as a backstop or anchor for the squad, and I just don't think that's his play style. And there was a moment, Pmwc EU, where they were using him a lot more of this off-angle player, someone who kind of is the crowbar for the team, breaking open a lot of these plays, and that worked extremely well. And I think you just got to trust him, because he has solo carried teams in the past. It's just, I think it must be weird for him playing on a competent team, where you're still trying to figure out what's your place in the squad, and it also isn't really on the other players to decide that for him.
Kara making their way on that south side, trying to keep that top spot in control. They are the top dogs of the lobby right now, and it's not looking super likely to change, although there are teams knocking down the door. However, they have done enough. They've done plenty in order to get into the top spots there. You can see that 135, there's no way they drop down below 7th place towards the end of the day here. Kara will be seen in those finals, along with Thundertalk and RA. They are pretty locked in. Mad Bulls, the most unlikely of the very likely teams to be seen in the finals, but at 115, you've got to imagine that that's going to be enough.
Oh, Thundertalk and Kara going at it. But in the meantime, we're going to take a little recap with Seven over on the stage.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. This time it's about RA. This squad was just pretty much able to secure their ticket into the grand finals. Earlier in the day, I was talking with Ida and I asked him, if you're in a comfortable position where you can actually hunt down a squad, are you going to do it? And he looked around and he said yes. He didn't want to specify which team it was though. So John and Blank, can we take any guesses? Maybe the RX, maybe Alpha 7? I don't know, because there's a lot of teams trying to make it to top 7 and it's very tight in that department.
I mean, it is all really to play for there in terms of guesses. I mean, at the moment, I think Alpha 7 seem to be fairly safe. 103 with 3 matches to play. You expect them to be able to get 7 points over the rest of the day and could potentially stretch all the way out, getting up to that 120 mark, right? I think the volatility really sits in the 2 teams beneath them, from 6th place down to 10th, and then an outside chance of down to 12th. Below that, nah, I'm not backing it.
No, I think for R8, targeted plays, you probably would want to target Alpha 7, right? Because they share a lot of your rotational paths. But you're also definitely correct in terms of it's a team that's hard to push out at this point in time, right? Especially this being the last Erangel, we didn't see too much aggression from R8 their way. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. Maybe they'll bring out something special on our next match.
Could be a Miramar special over on the desert. Of course, we haven't seen our 2 Miramars at the end of the day, and things do change in terms of dynamics there. We'll have to wait a little bit. Kara losing 2 players in opening salvo on the match. Not ideal. OG moving past Ulf now, and Ulf, as we all know, have been on a tear today. With dangerous territory. The circles shift as well, Blank. This is nasty. Over to the west side of Everest, over towards Hospital, and this is going to get messy over towards it. The nurses are going to have to work overtime.
Well, I mean, for RA, it's wonderful. From starting in South George to move down towards this area of the map, a really easy gameplay for them. But this is bad news for Wolves. I mean, a 3rd time in a row, sort of inexcusable at this point. Losing a player in the first 10 minutes of the game. Amori will find Igors. Yeah, it's just, it's not great. And for Wolves' prospects to get into the top 7, it's feeling like it's starting to get dashed a little bit here. These are initial shots from Thundertalk at some incredible distance.
I mean, sure, why not? Show us what you're made of. Show us what you got. There's a reason they are towards the top of the tables. Oh dear, OG, they've taken a lick on that east side. That approach to the foothills of Everest, not going to go unchallenged. And there's a lot of teams already crunched in here. It was a very, very fast rotate move here into stage 2. As the second circle pops up, Wolves diverting out to the west. Irina trying to take shots, but the beachheads just getting in the way. The reload's not quite there in time, and the Wolves draw up on the west side. In a couple of buildings, difficult to leave, but they're very isolated from every other team right now.
Yeah, West Coast's not a terrible place to play for them. At the moment, gives them some options in the future, but the main thing is safety, because they want to disengage from a lot of the action on the squad. Because this was a circle where a lot of teams are going to be moving in from that eastern side, they know that playing on the very west is probably the safest place to be, because the traffic jams are going to be on that eastern edge. APG rotating from the south side. For OG, it's been difficult because they are a team that starts towards the east, and we've had a lot of western circles today.
There's been much more focus over on that part of the map, you're right. So new ground in the lobby. The areas to the south of Georgia Pole. Just peeking over towards that swamp area as well, right on the south edge. We'll see where we end up. Mad Bulls atop the mountain right now, with all 4 of their players alive, I believe, at the top there. And they are the only team to have sent up the slopes. Everyone else playing around in the foothills.
Last player from GS. Jufar doing his best. I mean, he's still in Sosnovka, so I don't think his best is going to be good enough to get up towards the top side. But APG cut clean with all 4 players up. Looking over towards OG, who are leaving from Gatka to head towards the compound that sits under Everest, which is actually not a terrible spot at all for them.
This east side circle shift, though, over towards Everest. I feel like this is going to give Mad Bulls some neighbors. Virtus Pro on the move now, behind Ulf as... Oh dear, that's not where you want to be drawing short. Can't park there, mate. Aragon have to take flight once more. Milky Way, though, spotted first. It is Solus to get the shutdown. Boston as well, taken out, and Ulf really not giving any ground. Malloy, the only one to strike back so far, but 2 players left trying to face off against them. Ulf, a big nade over towards the top there, does actually manage to get the flush, so they've lost the player guaranteed, a point at least, but Malloy can't do anything about the rest of them, and Ulf stay alive. They lose Solus, but they'll keep on as 3 on the south edge.
I mean, 4 elims is great for Ulf, honestly. It does the trick, and it'll be... They just need a little bit more right on the game now. Even over the next 2 matches, they need probably like a 4 or 5 point average to see themselves safe. This is a wild rotate from the Wolves, by the way, getting over towards this eastern shank. It's not very safe whatsoever, but it is playable. It's very much a survival type maneuver, though.
Yeah, it's a get as far as you can type situation. GK on the west coast, they need to move up north or east or anywhere really, but the open field to the northwest of Gatka, where we saw Ulf start to post up and win that fight just now. I mean, that's so open. It's so difficult to move there. And the arena sit up to your north and the buildings up that direction. Where do you go at this point if you're GK? You have to take a fight. The question is which one?
For GK, it's a really horrible option of, do you swing through the fields, which, as you know, there's going to be a ton of sightlines looking over towards the west side, or do you try and take one of these fights over towards the north? And that's sort of your option. I mean, Wolves massively cut down on their losses there by getting that early rotate in. Making this rotate now would be really quite dangerous. Beefus does find Coops, though, on the outside. So that's 1 down for Wolves already. Good shots from Aaron over towards Geekate.
I mean, they're having flashbacks to last time on the Erangel open ground where Geeke rolled up on him and Ulf went crumbling. Fortunately, this time they find them at the start and they've established already that line. There are a lot more spread, a lot of different situations to unfold here. Scarface may be in danger here, but the arena actually could tag on for a third party, make the life a little bit trickier on that southwest side. 3 teams trying to move in from that direction. There's a fight for the center as well. So Regnum Kaya, DRX, gonna clash. It looks like Regnum Kaya lose their east side outpost on that one, Blank.
Yeah, I mean, for Regnum Kaya, this is a pretty good spot, to be honest. Trying to play out from this area, though, down towards the south side is a little bit more difficult. Mapful's pretty frustrated with the way this one worked out. Their saving grace is that APG is going to be other teams looking their way. Final players from GK are starting to fall here. Ran out of ammo, but SafG likely to go down to the blue here if he can't get a med off quick enough, and he absolutely does. And that is GK out. And 7 elims right now for Ulf. They are going further beyond, which is great to see.
Now they have E-Arena here. Maybe a couple more points for them, but remember, they're still playing as 3. E-Arena as 4. Tony K can't quite connect on the bumper, but will with the shotgun shutdown, and Ketch is next to go. E-Arena able to find 2. Now the last player to stand, it's Eren, the newest addition to the roster here, and Ulf need to rely on him now. Do they just want to get out of there? Try and send the way into the buggy, play the terrain. Smoke has bloomed on the off angle, but it's not going to be necessary. Plays the dips and moves on in. A solo pursuit now for the last player in Ulf.
Yeah, it's one of those tough positions. I can't believe Jufar's still in the game, but fair enough, goes down. Yeah, it's a tough spot to play in, especially if you get rocked up on like that. It's one of the few areas in the fields where you can effectively rock up and have some form of cover to work with. Heron slowly rocks up over towards APG, but Doc spots that out almost immediately and will find the flush on that one. So Ulf goes down, but 7 elims in pocket. What are we talking about before? 6, 7. You got the 7 elims on this game. That's all you really need to continue posting up those points. Now it's a way easier scenario. It's like a 3-point average that they realistically need in the next 2 matches.
Alpha 7. They're lucky to try and keep themselves in because Ulf did just leapfrog them up to 105. They haven't got any elims yet, and they're playing from South George. On the border, sure. Oh, get out from underneath there. Doesn't need an inspection just yet. It's got his MOT already. He's out running over his teammate. Not friendly, not friendly. But on the north side, they do have a difficult approach here up to the ridge lines around Hospital. They could maybe find that mound that sits there, but with Rectum Kaya on the other side, it's a bit of a silhouette that you're going to make as you try and make your way up there. For Alpha 7, that's tricky.
It's an interesting circle because there are several positions which are very dominant here, where it could hard shift over towards Hospital, Kara's compound on the west, central compound from Xavier. It could head over towards Everest, in which case Mad Bulls as well as APG have a good time. It could go down towards the south side, in which case Undertalk's compound suddenly becomes very, very strong. There's a lot of different scenarios here that can take place, which drastically change the pace of the game for any one particular team. So we'll wait and see, because I really do think it's sort of stage 5, stage 6, which is going to define how this game goes down. It's very different, that scenario we saw from OG, GK, and Alpha 7, where there really wasn't anywhere to play and it was super scrappy. But here there is some definitive spots on the map which are very playable.
So, question of who's going to be able to control them and how many teams are going to try and control them at once. In these scenarios, getting a little bit of healing on for Alpha 7 before they make their move. Rectum Kai are a little bit happier. Next zone will come through, will really start to cut out some of those points that you talked about before, Blank, as it goes to Xavier in that central position. Going to be a great day for them, but can they hold off teams crashing?
Yeah, for Xavier, this is massively good for them. Wolves, though, teams are blasting in. It's Alpha 7 will take down 1 in Baton. There's still 2 players alive, I believe, for Wolves, and the shots are coming in thick and fast from across the way as APG tries to put up that 15-point average. But good shots coming back from Coops there. Will shut down at least 1 player from Alpha Gaming.
Ooh, Mad Bulls have angles from the top of Everest as well, over towards Alpha 7. And this is a firing squad over towards that Alpha 7 position. I'm surprised they haven't all gone down already, to be honest, Blank. And at 104, they can't really afford to be losing out here. The number of points that they've been able to earn, I don't even know if they got any elims so far. OG, in the meantime, trying to mount the Everest approach. It's not going to go well. They're immediately turned away at the door. And APG, I don't think that they're going to miss that shot onto Aru. No, indeed they don't. And up they push. That's going to be done and dusted.
Yeah, Tanky just has to send further in towards the circle, try and find somewhere to stay. And I mean, heading over towards the fielded area is probably a smart decision, considering a lot of teams aren't going to pass through that position anyway. And it's close enough to Xavier that he has a little bit of support from them. So it's okay. But Thundertalk continuing to take shots over towards him, trying to see if they can find those angles. Kara right now in between them and E-Arena. Just Marceau here remaining for the squad. Has nades to work with.
See what you can do. Irina reluctant to go for the pushes, but they've got 2 nades cooking. Okay, Sakura's Molly able to tag him on. Gets the burn down. That is going to be Kara down. But again, they've done enough. They don't need to do any more unless they want to chunk out some more of that prize money, which of course is a tasty treat. But it's most sights set on the finals. DRX trying to move up, control the Mad Bulls on their descent. The Mad Bulls really haven't profited from the top of Everest in the way that maybe they'd have liked to here, Blank. But they are up now 2 points on the game. Getting shut down on the descent, though.
Yeah, it's given them some place to stay, though, which is the main thing. I think Mad Bulls would have struggled if not for that. This descent, like you say, came a little bit too late. I think that it was very unlikely for it to head all the way to the top of Everest, but a good push from Mad Bulls down the hill. This is an instantaneous retreat here. And there's some support coming through.
Oh, I think there's another flush coming on in. Alpha 7, I think, busted down to just the one player. Thunder Talk, by the way, flexed out. They've gone up the side of Everest. They want a piece of this fight. They want to try and jump up back into first place to end things out. We'll see if they're able to do it. Alpha 7 do fall. They get up to 107 total on their game. Should still be enough to keep them ticking over. We'll see what more they can do. The Wolves, who are behind, still on 2 players. Not quite close enough to be worrisome right now. Another shutdown over towards APG in the meantime, though, as DRX are starting to mount their bid for that 7th place spot. With the Wolves falling by the wayside, this is their opportunity.
You're absolutely right. This is DRX's game to get it done right and lock in another one of those positions. They're able to get a chicken dinner on this match. It's done. So they will lock in that position. Unfortunately for them, the circle moves out towards that western side, giving a lot of opportunity for more points for DXavier, another team on the chase. So we could be locking things in really early here, John. It depends how well this escape, this exit is for DRX.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Finally, one goes down. It's Lamborg to be able to pick that one up. OG eliminated in the meantime. They couldn't survive as a solo there on the roadside. The DRX now under heavy fire from the top of the mountain. This flex out from Thunder Talk has caused them so much trouble.
Yeah, I think for Thunder Talk, it was a very smart decision to push up the hillside here because they had a massive amount of cover to work with. Wolves right now looking to get ahead of the guys from DRX, but it's not meant to be. It's another well-placed grenade from R8. Will push R8 even further up the tables. DRX send in, but it's just one player, and he will be taken out fairly short in order. That's so easy down. Ida takes a knock, but should be able to be rezzed back up again.
It's just now one player left on the back lines for DRX, really. There's nothing more doing. They know he's in the hills somewhere, just the question of where. Prestige is on the hunt. He's scanning that horizon. Oh, goodness me. That is going to be a nasty situation for QXZ to find himself in. And right next to Thunder Talk 2, King is there rolling down, spots him, darts out the way. QXZ looks for the challenge, but it is going to be one out in the end by Thunder Talk. But up steps R8 as he gets the knock back in response. And I don't think Thunder Talk is going to be able to reclaim that player. That might be them done and dusted, actually, as they lost their downstairs partners.
Yeah, I think so. And Thunder Talk, if you told me that Thunder Talk would be in 3rd place at the end of yesterday, I don't think I would have, well, at the start of yesterday, I don't think I would have believed you at all. But I think that it is crazy how much of a good performance R8 has been able to put up, as well as Kara. I mean, I had a lot of hopes for R8 coming into this tournament at the beginning, and it's really nice to see that they've been one of the few exceptional teams throughout every single day. Yes, Kara had like the most incredible performance on day 2, but R8 has just been steady, consistent through day 1, day 2, and day 3, and it is paying off now as they catch up to Kara and maybe even pass them in this game.
Ooh, shut down there coming through. DXavier looking to keep things under control now. R8 with a massive elim total here. The full 14 that could potentially try and crash into the north side of this DXavier position. They've only got 3 elims on that middle spot, so we'll see what they can do. Rack up some more. A good first pickup. Looking for more damage. They're able to do quite a lot on the approach, and the hop out from Paragin deals so much more. They've been able to shred through the health bars here, and Nate all too happy to receive them. Open arms to the elimination tally of DXavier, and this is how you make your bid for it. Arena trying to third party, but there's nothing to third party on anymore. There's nothing being done to DXavier on this hold. Lambor's isolated, sure, but with only 2 players on in the intro, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, an incredibly speedy cleanup coming from DXavier there. And this is massive news for DXavier, just on the cusp of getting in towards that top 7. This could be the game to overtake both Wolves and DRX and gaining a spot in towards those finals. Arena make their way up. For APG, for Refus, this is a case of a 2nd place for him, ideally. But even so, this is more reputation on the line as opposed to getting into the finals, I would say, for APG.
I think the Arena may have jumped the gun on going in for this one. I mean, the circle out to the west side, it's not unlikely that it leaves the compound on the next one. With 3 players, they could have established a baseline across the road, played some of the divots, some of the ridge lines. They tried to commit for a third party, and now they're just going to be taken down one by one to these nades. DXavier have 12 nades on side blank.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think that for that comment about saying that E-Arena jumped the gun, I don't think they did. I think they went as fast as they could on this third party. The problem is the speed at which Xavier dealt with 4 players. That's where things go down. And Reefus will just take a tumble. I mean, he had to move out from the blue. And now it's Xavier 4-man versus 1. Technically, yes.
Might be the right play, but it's not going to happen either way. An immediate shutdown as Xavier close us out. I think they got up to 9 eliminations there, Blank. A 19-point game in such an important position. Xavier are going to be happy, but with 2 more matches left to play, it's still not over.
Not just yet, but we are getting in towards the totals where teams are getting close to locking things down. For APG, like I said, reputation's sake is on the line, and they're not doing bad, all things considered. Today, it looks a lot better than it did over the last 2 days, that's for sure. For Xavier, though, fantastic stuff. DRX still battling for that top side, but that is a difficult circle to play, and DRX definitely gets given the middle right there, and it's just an easy compound to play from. So much open space around it. It's fairly easy to nade out the garage, it's not the one you hold.
And another big game from RA as well. That's now 2 in a row. They've had a big impact on Blank. They are really charging it up towards the top of those tables. Looks like they are going to have a good day and solidify themselves in. The Xavier win, though, couldn't come at a more crucial time.
Couldn't have been at a more crucial time indeed, John, man. Xavier, they needed a big performance so bad here, Max, man. They end up rotating here to this building and clutching it up. I mean, wow, what a performance from Xavier.
Yeah, they stayed here since Circle 2 in this compound, and you know what? It's been pretty good for them because we had a few player stragglers at the end sending it onto their compound, meaning they can get extra loot to keep and remain proactive in these games and make sure they were part of the conversation from start to finish. So very happy with Xavier as they take that position away. And ballsy push at the end. I was hoping we could see an MG3 clutch. Hot Jukes, unfortunately, didn't quite work out for Jokov. E-Arena, there was a bit of hope for me, but it was not time as Lambo is up here, top performer with his team, which is great to see, especially Niptro, because he was using an AKM, which normally isn't the AR meta, so it's good to see an AKM popping off in a Pmgc lobby.
Yeah, it's really nice. We want to see a little bit of that variety, right? And if you can do it, why the heck not? It's still there. It's still in the game. Even though everybody uses M4s, AKs are going to be around there too. So love to see that a really even Steven elimination count from all of these players, though. Okay, except for Pathogen. But, you know, it is really, really good. 4-4-2. I mean, taking it, doing what they need to do is a really nice thing to see. So it's like, you know, it's across the board consistent gameplay, and this is exactly what they needed. I think it's exactly what we talked about, right? Going into this game of, you know, Xavier being one of those teams that's like, hey, if you want a shot at getting into that top 7, you need to win this next game, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big thing is that, you know, this lobby's so stacked. If you get a good position, any one of these teams, they're going to win it, and they're going to win it with a bunch of eliminations, right? But prior to this game, Xavier were behind DRX by 13 points, right? So they needed, actually, no, I'm sorry, 8 points, right? So they need to get 8 points in order to push themselves to the top 7, and they definitely did on this one, Neptura. So, you know, yeah, and then, of course, the hot drop. I think at this point,
I think short answer, yes. Long answer, APG for sure are playing a lot better today. We're seeing them actually get to the end stages of the game. We're seeing them as a full squad for a lot longer. But we're seeing the stubborn side of them. They don't know when to rotate away. We've seen it in 2 Orangles now. First against Ult, and then against up on Everest against Mad Bulls, and who else was it? DRX, a whole bunch of them were up there. is they don't know when to leave. They keep trying to push it and push it. It's like, hey, if we could just clear it, we'll be fine. It's like, guys, you don't need to. You need to survive to the next stage. Go to a better spot because this isn't it's not going to serve you.
The APG dip was just not the way next to Everest. Unfortunately, they got fully surrounded. There was Mad Bulls. There was even at one point, I think it was PRX. Some players of Orangutan just sending it around them at one point. Yeah, APG unfortunately kind of losing that steam that we were expecting to have for them in the Gauntlet. And yeah, I'm. You know what? I'm gonna say GG, game over. Start scrimming for the group stage because they are out of the conversation for me personally completely when it comes to the top 7 race.
Man, and this is the point that I really want to stress here, right? After saying that, Max, in my opinion, this next match is the most important of the tournament, right? There's half the lobby is going to know that if they're going to make it or not. But before we get into that, Max, why don't you break down these rotations here on this last game? That hospital finish definitely mixed things up for a lot of the squads.
Well, you're going to see Xavier barely move after Circle 2, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Look, they instantly send it over. They got this southern side of Everest. They play there for a little bit. Phase 2 pops, which you're going to see now. There you go. And they instantly scout. They had information a little bit earlier, so boom, instantly send it over there. Kind of work and coexist with R8, kind of working and defending that area together pretty nicely. But APG, this is the moment, Iptro. They go to the western side of Everest, and then they're locked in there until the very later stage where they just get completely obliterated. That position, once you're there, it's so hard to leave.
Yeah, it is hard to leave. EA as well, I'm gonna say. I mean, we haven't really seen much for them. They're not gonna make it to top 7, but it's nice to see them, you know, fight a little bit more now that pressure's off. You know, we had some decent rotations from them. A little bit of an odd 1-3 split there. I think we were discussing it. We would have liked to see them, you know, full send if they wanted to really send on to Xavier there, but they still grab a decent 13 points, which is really nice for them. But that attention's got to go back onto Xavier. 20 points total. Nice even 10 and 10 for placement points and eliminations. And then R8 at this point don't need to do a thing, and they were still raring to go for that win. 15 points on the board for them.
Yeah.
They're not backing down anytime soon.
They don't need the points. They're just flexing.
They don't.
You know what? Kara, Thunder Talk, we're catching up. Maybe they can be first place. And I'm telling you, man, the Arabic casters right now on that stream, they are popping off. They must be out of their minds, Hot Tricks, for once seeing a team from MENA dominating globally like this on this scale, on this level. It has almost never been seen before, so R8 deserve kudos for that because that is unprecedented for the MENA region.
Heck, they better be going off right now because, I mean, this is the first time we are in the Gauntlet, right? And they just might win it. With that game right there, that is going to put them very high on the leaderboards. And if they do end up, you know, surpassing, you know, Thunder Talk, that's going to put them down to 3rd place, Max, man. What do you think's going on with Thunder Talk today?
I mean, they had some good red dot sprays at, 200 meters from Sitting and Jing. So that was pretty cool in the replays, like cool moments like that. But I would say is not Thunder Talk is playing bad by any stretch of the imagination. For me, it's just the lobby is now so desperate for points. It's hard to stand out realistically in Neptune, right? So they're not playing worse. It's just the lobby has leveled up significantly to the point where now teams were doing so well at the start, now are looking a little bit more average than they used to be.
Yeah, but okay, hang
They're
on.
first.
Whoa, they are first by 3 points.
Yep.
And Thunder Talk slip into 2nd place, so they're not in that 3rd position, right? So they're good. They're tied with Kara, but there's no problem there. That's fine. They can fight amongst themselves. I'm looking at 5th, 6th, and 7th. 2 points away. Xavier do move into 6th place, but they're tied with Ulf here. And the way Ulf have been playing, the way Xavier have been playing, it's not the same.
Alpha 7, 107, they're just 2 points ahead of this. Any of these 3 teams have a bad game, DRX, Wolves, Orangutan, all these teams, they're going to play catch-up. They're going to try and chase you the hell down. Hodgix, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, these teams in 6th and 7th place have a massive target on their back now.
I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, right? I've seen this position so many times. This next game is the most important because the last game of the day, half of the lobby up top and half of the lobby down below, right? Almost the entire lobby know where they're going to be, right? We got squads like, you know, Virtus Pro, honestly, even Regnum Caria, who are like, the chances of us making it at this point is pretty much over, right? Top teams that know they're going to make it. That's going to create chaos in the last game because squads are going to be pushing each other, you know, practicing for the group stage, doing whatever the heck they want. So I can't tell you how many times, Max, we've seen in the last game a squad that only needs 2 points and they can't even get that because of how crazy it is, right? So
yes.
Honestly, I'll say it right now for OG. If they don't get 10 eliminations and a chicken dinner this game, they're going to go to the group stage 100%.
Yeah. I really like that you bring this up because I've seen so many tournaments just like you where you have these teams that are so close, they're on the cusp of achieving greatness, reaching the next stage of whatever tournament they're playing in, if it's a regional tournament or a global tournament, and they just play too passive, hoping, oh, if we get to late game, it's going to be enough. No, you need to go hard or go home. And right now, for DRX, for Wolves, for Orangutan, for Regnum Kara, for Virtus Pro, it is time to strike. If you don't do anything on these 2 Miramar games, I'm going to say, I almost don't want to see you in the finals because you don't have the chops yet to be a champion.
Yeah, Neptura, I'm not even going to say these 2. I'm saying it's this game right here, right now. If you don't do it, it is all over, right? So Neptura, you know, do you think, right, which teams do you think have what it takes, right, that are below that stage to get that chicken dinner? Which one do you think has a chance of getting it?
DRX, Regnum. Honestly, only those 2.
Wow. Okay. I mean, DRX 7 points away, right? That's definitely possible. Wolves, you know, a little bit further down. Regnum are really far away, right? But we know that they have that potential, right? We know that they definitely can put up a big game here and now, but I'm looking at Silas's face, you know? That just sucked all the confidence out of me. I'm not gonna lie here, man.
You know what you need to do now? You give him an Eastern Island finish on Miramar. He's gonna be like, no, not again. No, don't give it to DRX. It would be terrible. That would be absolute cinema if that happened. We'll see, of course, how the circle is going to be going. Though, I know we said this quite a bit. We've been hammering down this point of hot drops. I want to bring it up for maybe the last time today, depending on how it goes.
Okay.
We need to mention it. Orangutan, Alpha Gaming, Shuma Sera. Orangutan, do you want to take that risk right now? APG, again, for me, the out-nipture of the conversation, but Orangutan, they have a lot to lose if the hot drop doesn't go as they expect.
Yeah, I think it's a bit risky. We've seen them make it to the end stage of the game so often so far today. I think if they just want to tweak a few things, they could really get a big performance, and this is where they need it, especially, as you said, Jukes, right? This next game is so much more important than talking about the other 2 or, like, both games, because, you know, the last game's going to be so chaotic. So I think to hot drop APG now, maybe save that for less game.
Yeah, honestly, I think that, OG, you have to move. You have no choice. Like, if you go and land near APG, it's over for you. I mean, APG just won their last hot drop, right? These guys have nothing to lose. You saw those sprays from Ziol in the other match here, right? I mean, this is a team you don't even want to get close to right now. They got nothing to lose. And the chance of you taking out the entire squad, Neptura, right, and walking away unscathed, that's like 0.1%. So for OG, honestly, in my opinion, if they don't switch up their drop spots, they're going to the group stage. What do you think?
Yep. I think it is. That's the case 100% because they do need to make those tweaks. And if you hot drop and lose, you can't make the tweaks because you're not in the game to do that. And APG, the way they've been playing so far today, they've been grabbing any eliminations that they can grab from anybody around them. And I think you just give them those free elims if you're not careful.
Well, you know what? We got an interview on the stage with 7WG. I can't wait to hear what he has to say here because, man, we are in that final moments. Let's go ahead and take it out over to the stage to hear from 7.
Sometimes you get blessed by the circle, and sometimes teams are able to take full advantage of it. I'm here with Levi's from DX. Great performance in the last match. Now going into Miramar, that is one of your best performing maps as you're currently averaging a 4th place finish. What are you looking to do to make sure you maintain yourself within the top 7?
Chào Levis, thì vừa rồi các bạn đã có màn trình diễn rất là tuyệt vời. Và bây giờ thì mình sẽ chuẩn bị bước vào bản đồ Miramar, là bản đồ mà các bạn cũng làm chơi rất là mạnh. Vậy thì không biết là mình sẽ chuẩn bị làm gì để mình chắc chắn mình sẽ có suất vào vòng chung kết.
Bọn em chuẩn bị trận đấu mới thật là tốt, di chuyển hợp lý và căn thông minh chuẩn thôi ạ.
Well, we'll try to prepare ourselves to do well in the next map by doing proper circle rotation and also with great timing.
With teams now being qualified because of the way the numbers are currently working to the grand finals, are you scared that maybe some of these teams might try to target you?
Vậy thì trong bản đồ tiếp theo thì bạn có sợ rằng là một số đội khác sẽ nhắm vào mình hay không?
Trận đấu mà đâu biết được, gặp là em thôi ạ.
Well, you know, it's a competition. We don't know what will happen, and if we encounter them, we'll just attack them.
Oh, I love the aggressiveness that we're seeing here at Pmgc. Levi's, thank you so much. Back to you guys.
Hey, love to see it indeed, man. We got two more Miramars, right? It's gonna be crazy to watch here. But in my opinion, it's this next match that's huge. And I kind of want to talk about what you said, Neptura, right? You know, with OG losing that fight, in my opinion, losing one player means losing this stage, right? Because if you look at the numbers, Max and Neptura, tell me if you agree or disagree. In my opinion, 20 points is the minimum OG needs, at the absolute minimum, right? If they get 19, they're not making it to the grand finals. What do you think about that?
You mean for this one game or
this
the
game,
games combined?
This next game right here and now.
Ooh.
It's a high for orangutan. You mean? Yeah, we're on OG.
That's right.
We're on OG.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're on OG. I'm saying OG needs 20 points in this game to make it to the finals.
Make it 15.
Yeah.
You think 15? That's crazy.
15,
no way.
and you can still make it in the last game. Like 20. I mean, if you want to make it now, 20 points, then yes.
Yeah,
But
I disagree.
15 would be enough to be like in a position where you could still reach in game 6 of today.
I
just
disagree.
feel the way they've been playing, it's not going to mean 20 points in one game. They can't bring it out like that because the way they've been playing is not really led up to that, personally.
The reason why I disagree so hard is because I thought I was being conservative at 20, right? In my opinion, I think it's 25, right? Because they're 24 behind. They're 24 behind Ulf, okay? So you have to hope that Ulf gets no points, right? DRX gets no points. Wolves gets no points and still put up 24 points in this next game. So in my opinion, it's 20 or it's over. But who knows, right? I mean, the last game, I've been surprised before, but I'm pretty sure on this one, Max.
The reason why I would agree with you to some extent is because I've seen so many times where a team has to qualify in the last game and they unfortunately don't do anything. They bring a single-digit game. So if you take that tendency into consideration, I would agree you need like an around 20-point game for them to qualify now. If they don't, they're going to need 2 good back-to-back games, which, as we know, in these kind of situations where there's so much pressure, so much at stake, you do tend to falter when the time is just not right for you.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest games of this tournament is about to happen, guys. Let's take it on over to John Allen and Blake for some Miramar action.
Hey, we all know bigger is better. So, of course, we're going from Arigel to Miramar, the bigger of the two. Not quite, it's got the same landmass as Rondo, but it's still plenty hefty to close down this tournament blank. The Gauntlet is just around the corner from its finish line. And we are going to be stretching our legs here into the desert from the south side, all the way up to Torrejomada on the plain path. Our teams need points, and they need them now.
Yeah, as the penultimate game of the day as well, this is sort of the one that is make or break, right? This is the one where you either leave an opening for a team underneath you to strike out in the 6th game of the day, or you could close it all down right here and now. There's always that chance to happen. So this is a very, very important match, as the guys on the desk were saying, to make sure that you get those points. There are several teams battling it out for that 7th place position now, and everyone wants a piece of it. North America, South Korea, Xavier looking to hold on strong. Let's see exactly who comes out on top in this game.
It is very, very fraught among several of our teams there. Keeping an eye out for any hot drops, see if anything boils over. If anything's bubbling under the surface. It looks like we're going to be okay for now, but the plain path was on the east. The circles even further. Southeast side over towards Puerto Paraiso. On that southeast edge, east of Los Leones. Impala as well, a feature on that north side.
Yeah, really hard shift on the circle here. right on the boundaries as well of the map itself. You got this high ground that sits down towards that southeast side. Impala, like you say, a bit of a big feature there, but we'll wait and see if the circle heads over that way. Zone 2 is going to be the big one. Question is setting yourself up for success in this game. We get to take a look at the leaderboards right now with Ulf currently in 7th place, tied with DX. They are right on that boundary that we talked about earlier, John. So we have had a sudden uptick in certain teams looking towards the top side of the lobby. So that cutoff could be much higher than we initially expected.
I mean, yeah, we were talking about it being on average 113 across the regions. I thought it would be a bit lower. I felt like that might be the case, but I was wrong. I had 105 locked in as my guess, and it can only go up from there. In the next 2 matches, you expect it to be going up from there as well. It's difficult to say where it's going to fall, right? But if you're over 120, you're feeling safe now.
Exactly. I think Kara, Thundertalk, R8 in a really good position. Even Mad Bulls, I would say, at this point are really quite hopeful for their chances. It's sort of impossible to cut them out. Sort of being the operator there. But Wolves going to move on, and they certainly need to in 9th place. 96 points, just 2 points behind DRX, but a hefty amount of points behind Ulf and DX right now. Again, it is that inconsistency that's come back to bite Wolves as well as DRX, with both teams not really having massive games, but being able to put up points here and there. And I think Ulf as well as DX have proved to us that they can get these big chicken dinners, have these strong matches underneath their belt. And that is the clear differentiator between all the teams in the top 7 and some of our teams underneath, is just all of those squads have had a massive game during the Gauntlet.
Yeah, it's necessary to at least flex your muscles here. Even if you're keeping 1 or 2 things back, I mean, do you need to keep it going? It's unfortunate that Thundertalk weren't able to really put down a legacy going into the finals with their performance in the first day repeated, or rather not repeated in the next days. They were head and shoulders above everybody else, but they now have 2 peers right around them on those points tallies, and R8 at the top. It is a real good time to be a MENA fan. And R8 very happy to be there. Only 3 points ahead though, so it's not comfortable.
It's really not. I mean, you'd like to be a little bit further ahead than that come game 6. All right, haven't played too badly here on Miramar before. DRX get themselves set up quite nicely early on towards the south side, just the west of Puerto Paraiso right now. There's a lot of options from this area in terms of rotates towards the high ground, even swinging back around to Los Leones if we end up heading there. It's a bit more tough getting towards that north side, towards Impala. Certainly doable with vehicles, but I think for DRX this is a decent beginning of the match for them.
Looking at what they need as well, they do need all the help they can get in that 8th place spot. Wolves as well, making moves, but they're in Monte Nuevo, a long way away, a long road ahead as teams start to collapse. We're just under 3 minutes away from getting that next zone pop. We'll be seeing where on that southeast side we're going. Are we going to get a Los Leones finish to make things all the worse for the teams trying to crash into the top 7?
OG getting over towards the central position nice and early with this one. Circle does favor their drop spot here, which is lucky as well. They drop away from APG, not wanting to take a fight towards them this game, and it actually benefits them in a big way. Just towards the west of Impala, trying to get over towards that hillside. No one's really spotted them out yet either, so they are slowly but surely getting into a strong spot to set the rest of the game up for themselves. Thundertalk even heading far down on the eastern coast, picking up Longhouse.
Yeah, playing with that overlook onto the islands out to the east side, Blank. We know what sort of chaos they can confer to the lobby. I mean, if it heads out there, Silas is going to be having flashbacks to the end of last year, to Pmgc last time around. Denied by 1 point. He's going to be having a horrible time of it. but we'll see just how this one unfolds. It's so unlikely still that those East Islands are featured. They are right on the edge of this first circle. To get in the next circle requires 2 or 3 very dramatic shifts, which you just don't expect to be happening at this stage. They were a lot more central when it happened in Pmgc last time.
Kara right now looking to reclaim that top spot, right? On that table with Thunder Talk as well as R8 pushing them back out again. I think that honestly, out of R8 and Thunder Talk, it is very impressive to see Kara in this position anyway, battling out first place, considering the majority of their points came through from day 2. I think a result like that is going to be very hard to replicate throughout the entirety of Pmgc. Poser. Okay.
How did he dance?
Every bullet dodged.
How did he dance out of the way of that one? Goodness me, it's not even. He does go down, but it's not even Jafar who clocks it. I don't think, unless I missaw that one on the Elim feed. Oh, it might have been actually. He's the only person around, it seems. Yeah. So Poser, to be fair, yeah, he was going down there. He should have gone down a lot earlier, and maybe should have been flushed, but a little bit of a misspray there. Does mean that Kara have to go for a rescue mission though. Playing him, set him as a trap.
Yeah, I mean, Amir's moving up with the nade, and it's a really easy post in as well, considering no smokes on that one. It is funny that he dodged all the bullets, and then as soon as he gets into cover, he forgets there's a whole damn window there, which is unideal. But this is our next zone shift over towards Los Leones. Goodness me. It's a good thing that OG didn't go too far down towards that eastern side, so that they can now try and get out. But it's Regnum Caillou does get the massive boon of where they were playing. 2 spots taken, a lot of information gathered, and now can quickly switch over to a much more comfortable position in the circle to play off. But with Los Leones being such a massive feature, you don't really want to get in there too early. But to be honest, a lot of teams don't have that much choice. It covers almost 50% of the circle here.
And Ulf as well on that northern side. Regnum Caillou and Ulf both trying to earn as many points as they can. Meanwhile, on the inside of town, it's getting a little bit rough in the streets here as Doc steps out down the alleyway. And Ragnarok meets him, but will not stand the test. As Doc able to claim that point for APG. They still keep earning points, Blank. They're definitely not making it, right?
No, they're not making it.
Right?
And again, it's like 2 20-point games, at least. If not more.
Surely not.
So, no. And on top of profit, GS moving over towards OG's position. Aru in the background right now, watching through, but doesn't have too many great sight lines through the warehouse versus GS. Might need to relocate downwards. There are nades being flung backwards over towards GS. There is some doors that Aru can send shots through, but they are somewhat avoidable. All in a singular building. The GS, I would probably put these guys on equal power level right now. Let's see exactly how OG wants to play this.
I mean, we saw Jafar whiff a spray earlier, so maybe they're not feeling so hot. And look at QXZ as well up on the high ground for DRX. Could potentially be a third party there. Spider-Man's playing in Los Leones. Oh, no. Hang on a minute. Take that back. I hope that's not Spider-Man, because that's looking real Spider-Man. Was it Spider-Man 2, where he loses his powers? It's like that.
Yeah. My boss makes a great point.
What? Hello?
He says that, you know, we did take into account we have Rondo, which does inflate point scoring, which is why it hasn't really dropped down to where we expected the points cutoff to be in 7th.
Wait, who said that?
That's our boss.
Oh, yeah, no. The analysis I did was only with tournaments that used Rondo specifically with this map rotation. So it is still 113 average expected, and I was expecting lower than average.
Exactly, but again, it's like, I think the variance from Rondo is the weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, but
yeah.
I mean, you can only do so much.
I agree with your statistics, 100%. But it is on all of the maps, the statistics can paint a very clear picture. I think with Rondo, it's a little bit harder.
That is true. Although there is only 3 out of the 18 matches. So the impact it can have is, at best, you know, a 5%
It's quite
swing
a lot.
either way.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure, that's about 5
Kara
points,
and
right?
Ulf. I mean, Kara and Ulf both getting 14 points off one match, and Wolves also getting similar points is quite unheard of on any other map.
Yeah, okay, fine. All right. Well, let's get stuck into Los Leones because it seems like DRX and GK both are as well. APG, they still keep getting a point or 2 here and there. Reefers,
They're not making it, John.
They found what they're definitely not making it, Blank. As GK aren't going to be able to find the first peak. They do a lot of damage in the drop down. He looks for it. He's going to be put to sleep there. Nurzed looks to try and challenge up the stairs, but he can't connect.
They're not making it.
They're not going to make it, Blank. It's not happening.
They're not going to make it, okay? We're going to calm down right now because APG is definitely not getting in. All right?
It's not happening. Look,
they're not getting in. Like, even if they get these nades, they're not getting in.
That's just like, okay, there we go. Right, Virtus Pro. Giving us a little bit of a break there, a little bit of a breather. But Reefus and Doc still want more. They're still chewing. Let's see what they can find. In the meantime, OG and GS, the fight is popping off. We saw this established before. It looks like Aru wasn't able to regroup and was taken down in the meantime. So it's only WizGod and AKOP on the inside as GS Sharks swarm around the outside. They need the harpoons out. They aren't going to be able to find it for one. And the second as well looks good. They're turning the tides here now into a 1 versus 1. It's AKOP versus Jafar. The clutch maestro himself needs to come up big for the squad. 3 players to pick back up for GS, and AKOP's on the corner. He got some healing done with the auto shotty. Jafar's got one of his own, and he turns the corner onto the inside of the building. The Vault, a classic for Jafar, and WizGod begging to be picked back up, but he doesn't have the time. AKOP with the pin on the nade over in to Jafar's feet. He sends it through, and OG stands strong. 2 players survive. How much further can they go?
Lovely bouncer on that one. And OG will get up at least one of their players here. Back up to 2, 85 points. Not bad at all. Much better than what we've seen from the rest of the day. They are on the outside. We'll have to push in. But they could wrap down towards the south side of Los Leones here. Unfortunately, it's not likely to end up in Los Leones. But as a survival maneuver, it would be a way to get more points on the game. But again, as 2 players, they need to still put a fairly strong fight here to get in towards top 7.
Absolutely necessary for them to be a little bit longer on the stride to the pack ahead of them. And with 2 players, that ability is severely diminished. Can't really go for too much now. I'm still waiting for Red Kai to start to pop off this match. In any match, really. It's just not come through yet. On cam. Shot over towards Kara. Kara have already done the job. Share with the rest of the class. Then again, so have Thunder Talk. Are going to be looking to just earn 1 or 2 extra points. Sure, challenge for that top spot against R8. But they sure as hell don't need them. Not like the other teams. Lower down on those tables. So everyone's starting to move. Kara crunching in on the east side. Regnum Kaya looking to try and take control of the hills to the north and Los Leones. It looks like we're not heading into the city fully for a finish.
No, again, we moved a little bit towards that north side, which is why it's never really advisable to sit in Los Leones center. We were heading over towards the silos on that northern edge. We have the valleys that cut through here. Fair bit of high ground still to work around. Open area towards the north. No one's really taken up that compound just yet either. And 11D still being in play as well. We haven't really talked too much about that, but E-Arena is currently playing in that position. With Thunder Talk having oversight, Mad Bulls do guard the exit too. So the gatekeepers are in full effect.
They managed to sneak their way past the Regnum Kaya blockade on the east side. They're now in town, ready to hit the dance floor. See if they can dance their way up the tables too. With 4 elims so far on the match, they need a little bit more. E-Arena on the north side, they're moving around the Labadita crater that is just in, but it's getting slowly pushed out, and the Mad Bulls sit just over that ridgeline. They're ready. They're waiting.
Yeah, Mad Bulls have a strong spot here, ready to hold out both Thunder Talk as well as E-Arena. Arena knows that as well. They have to expend utility to make this happen, but from what I can see from Joker, there's not a whole lot on them in terms of smokes, at least. The nades will be useful, but you got to get up to the building first. And that's the difficulty.
Certainly will be tricky. Ooh, a knock over to DX Xavier out on the west side. Of course, Alpha 7 and DX Xavier pretty neck and neck here. Both looking to solidify their position. 5th and 6th on the tables. Paragin tries to step forwards, but Revo has the corner, has the shutdown as well. Carrillo needs to heal, so does Revo. And now the rest of DX Xavier need to strike, but where are they? Nate on the upstairs, Lambor's repositioning, and they are going to get overwhelmed if they don't do something soon. Grisau's cut off a little bit from Obscure, but they need to find more now, Blank.
That they do. And I mean, for the time being, this is looking very rough for DX Xavier. Lambor seems to just be sending away, which is the smart decision here, I think. I'm pretty sure for DX Xavier, they realize all is lost in the building. Get Lambor away, potentially get a couple more points, because that's all DX Xavier really needs.
Couple more might do it. Nate goes down. Alpha 7 want to secure themselves that 110, and they push themselves over that boundary that we were talking about towards the start of the tournament. A 7th place still sits at 105. Thunder Talk now challenging Mad Bulls on the north side as they have taken that fight to them, but they don't need to. With the circle popping down to the south, they could disengage with that knock. Now might be the best time, but they've lost one of their own to a response day from Tulika.
Good stuff from Thunder Talk. 3v4 here going fairly well, but there is a shot from off in the distance from CEO, who continues to burn through teams. AJ barely getting away from that one. Joker able to pick up one elimination. CEO still going, sending shots over.
Wowee. In the meantime, Thunder Talk going to crash on in. They're going to get away from the ridge line, but it's not going to be pretty inside the longhouse there. Steps out into the crossfire. Pusher looks for more, and Thunder Talk fall. They will be eliminated here, and the Mad Bulls, again, looking to continue that solidification process. Arena now crashing in to try and third party, but once more, they're just too late.
Yeah, which friend nades in. I think for Thunder, it's an unfortunate situation where they're forced to go in the building far before they're ready for it. Carolo continues to be a nuisance on the back end of this fight with some great shots and some, I think for the rotations from Kara's side, they are incredibly good at cutting off teams of where they want to go and just causing these big problems. I think the speed at which they rotate off into new angles and the communication between those angles is very, very good. M249 barking over towards the Mad Bulls right now. Flip last remaining inside the building is getting low very quickly as stage 5 will hurt.
He has to step out from behind this truck at some point or other, and immediately he's torn to pieces. Question is, who got the point there? Looks like CEO was the one to snaffle that away. Nice stuff. And Kara, take that first place spot back.
But R8 still in the game and chilling over on the northeast side. OG finally do need to move, and DRX has eyes onto this. The two players, I think it's very unlikely, especially with Regnum Kaya pulling up the rear here on the high ground. Should have sightlines in. Attempts to get the nade into the container. Wizgard's just going to hold out as long as he can.
I mean, hiding in these crates is probably one of the better options that they've got available to them at the moment. Keep the heads down, away from Regnum Kaya, who have been quiet so far. I've wanted more from them, and they need to do more in this match, Blank. They have had such a great position for so long. They have the high ground still under control, but they haven't been able to get any elims for it so far. Now's where they need to try and turn that one around. It is still the case that in a strong spot, sometimes you don't get these mid to early game elims. You're more focused on maintaining for the late game. But the question is that gamble worth it? Are you going to be able to convert, especially when Kara are marauding on the north?
I mean, from the spot they've had, they just really haven't had a chance to take shots at too many teams, and there's no reason for them to get too aggressive at this point in time. You are right, though, because they absolutely need to get a big game towards the end of the day here. 2 big games, in fact. They want to break into the top 7, which is highly unlikely. But for Regnum Kaya, they're kind of banking on this late game where it's going to be quite open.
Now's when they do need to start to come alive, try and turn that one around. There's a lot of strongholds already, though, established inside the circle. It's going to mean that it's a bit slim pickings, especially with this next circle where they have to move. Shots over to DRX. The Wild, as he's watching that run out. OG as well, cooking some nades to send over to DRX. You can't quite find the angle. APG on the north side as well. Sorry, all the way off in the west side. They are going to have a tough time. And again, into the vehicle. The smokes are there. Have they got the cover to make the dash? WizGod is down. AKOP, there's no chance he's slowing. And he will survive, but for how much longer? Again, just having to tuck away in these corners as the nades pour in from the Wolves. That bounce could have been the end of him, but will be able to get this first aid off, you'd imagine.
Yeah, has some more meds to work with. Sticky Bomb won't quite take him down. We'll stim up, try to get back up to 100 HP, because he can survive a nade that comes his way. Yeah, just start stepping their way in, trying to get in those placement points. So at this point, it would take a miraculous game. Last match, I mean, for DXavier being in 105, there's a possibility it's 20 points, right? And a chicken dinner, and OG could pull that off.
Certainly is possible, but a fleeting possibility at best. The nades start to bombard out and take points away from the lobby, get away from teams that need them. Put them in R8's pocket, why not? Battle for the top of the tables rages on, and R8 do not want to let it slide. Kara denied access. They had it for a moment. R8 being nice on that front, but no, they'll take it back into control. 139 now, neck and neck. R8 win that tiebreaker. DRX crashing in, and it's all up to AKOP to stay alive.
Nice.
Shuts him down. No dice on that push there. DRX only dribs and drabs and will be shut down.
Yeah, another point for AKOP here. Definitely been real clutch for OG. And no one's really looking to take any fight at him.
I'm looking at the points here, and all of those teams who are chasing the bubble are still alive, from 9th down to 14th. I mean, I say that with a lot of leeway given to the teams lower down there, but they're all looking to chase, and they're all still alive, which is really bad news for DXavier.
Yeah, for DXavier, it does look worrisome. I think for the Wolves here, though, there is a good chance for them to set themselves up for this last game. At least put themselves on par with DXavier going into this final match. It's a bit of a difficult run out. Regnum Kaya will pick up the silos. Back at this one. Oh my god. If the circle hated these teams, this is one way to show it. Playing off this is really rough, and I think for Ulf actually do have a very strong spot to continue playing from, but they need to cause damage and cause chaos and carnage around the map here. R8 pushes through, but Regnum Kaya quick with the shots downwards from the silos.
Oh, Joker lays down the law to Loxy and will send him down for a knock, as Regnum Kaya do have to slow down a little bit. Regnum Kaya up to 3 elims now off in the distance. Deadwolf getting knocked and flashed to Ulf on their high ground hilltop position that they've held for a while now. Ulf really looking to solidify up in those top 7, up to 109 at this point.
Yeah, they're getting further into this one. Regnum Kaya, you know, they just need points here. R8 repositions inside the building off the left-hand side, and still, Wolves have done nothing about AKOP, unable to find these nades across, and AKOP is going to send one of his own. Whew, felt like it was close.
I felt like that was bouncing correctly. The zone, though, is pushing in blank, and it will move everybody out of this area. AKOP wants to spot the run-outs, maybe get a flush or 2 if he can. That would be a successful salvage. Regnum Kaya slam down the hill and immediately into the meat grinder. That should be it. That should be them done and dusted. No chance, really, of them getting into 7th place on the next match. It's just too tall of an order.
AKOP gets 2 on the nade.
Okay.
Over towards Wolves.
Wait, what?
Coops goes down. Did he take them out solo? I think he did.
It came up on the picture-in-picture. I wasn't ready for it, but oh my goodness me. AKOP now has catch to deal with. He's heard the chicanery around the zone, and Ulf are actually putting a lot of people over in this area. AKOP darting, dashing. More points than we thought he'd get, and laddering up another place 7 elims. Blank, that's going to draw them up from 90 points. That's 15 points behind the bubble right now. That is so doable.
Incredible stuff. I mean, and it just shows that OG can take fights. I just hope that in future doesn't take them going down to one singular player and just having that nothing to lose mentality to go for it. What a nade from AKOP though over the top. And I think he hit an initial Molotov as well, which was crucial at delaying the guys on Wolves. And that does put Wolves in an awkward scenario now.